Hey guys, this is my presentation on the Flint water crisis. I chose this topic to write about because I felt like a lot of people were misinformed about the what and the how of the crisis. There hasn't been a lot of research on how exactly to fix the crisis, so I did some on my own to see what other industrial cities who had been through these hardships had done to fix similar situations. In my opinion, to know what actually happened during the Flint water crisis, you have to go back to 1999. Before 1999, Flint held the highest median income in the state and was home for over 200,000 people. General Motors was to thank for the success of Flint, but they are also credited with its demise. GM pulled out of Flint in 99, forcing over 100,000 people to leave, and left the city carrying a $25 million deficit. This deficit put Flint under state control, and Governor Rick Snyder quickly appointed an emergency manager to oversee the city's cost cuts. This emergency manager worked with the DEQ to set up a plan to use the Flint River water to cut costs for the city. When the DEQ presented the idea of using the Flint River water to the directors of the water plant, they were extremely hesitant. Not because there was something wrong with the river, they used the river in 2009, and there were no problems, but because the plant had almost no time to prepare for the switch, leaving them completely understaffed. Another issue they found was that the river's corrosivity ran higher than Detroit's water, and that was the water they had been using before. To reduce the lead levels in the pipes, plants have to add lime, a type of phosphate, into their water. The phosphate coats the pipe so that if a water source is high in corrosivity or has a slightly unbalanced acidic pH, it will not corrode them. The DEQ put a pause on adding these extra phosphates into the water until the lead and copper test results came back. And they came back clear, so the phosphates were never added. Because of these clear test results, we know that the lead problem did not lie in Flint's distribution system, but in the homes of the people. Many of the water service lines in older homes are still lead, which is the responsibility of the homeowner. But with GM pulling out, there are a lot of people who are fiscally not able to fix their pipes on their own. Nobody has fully fixed the water crisis, so I decided to come up with a solution. The only way to fix the crisis for good is to downsize Flint, or it's also called right sizing a city. All of the abandonment leads to stagnant water in the pipes, which is really bad for them. They cause leaching, that's where lead gets into the pipes and goes into homes. My plan would be to relocate the few people living in these abandoned neighborhoods closer to the center of the city. This would let officials block off the unused infrastructure and tear down the abandoned buildings, or have surrounding cities consume the areas and do with it what they will. An example of a city that has done this is Cleveland. Cleveland is an industrial city that had a 33% drop in population after the automotive industries moved overseas and was running into the same problems as Flint. They had too big of an infrastructure for their population, and water and sewage lines were sitting stagnant. The first step that Cleveland took in fixing this was consolidating thriving neighborhoods and offering them housing alternatives in those thriving neighborhoods. Those cities then changed the policy to zero occupancy zoning, which means nobody could live there, and the expensive unused municipal services would be shut off to those areas. These automotive cities need help. They need a solid plan to fix what's underground. My plan of action is the only surefire way to solve the issue entirely. Flint deserves a chance to prosper again. The DEQ should have added those phosphates the first time so that I would not be writing this paper at all. I am hoping this paper is used as a call for change. We need to start petitions and call our Congress members so that people enact a change. They need to know that there is still an insurmountable amount of people without clean water, and we have the means to solve it. And these are my sources.